So Klaus Schwab already has you eating the bugs. These are already in your food, and aren't they? They are so pleased that, don't want to eat the bugs? You're already eating the bugs. Gotcha, conspiratard. Anyway, before we start, if you want to support us, go to delaciousnews.com, sign up for $5 a month. This is how we keep the lights on and why we don't have to do corporate sponsorships, and why we can produce excellent articles like this, such as the Tory leadership race proves that leftist ideological capture of Britain is complete. Because the Tories are a WEF party, and everyone knows they're a WEF party. Everything is a WEF party these days. They've penetrated the cabinets around the world, and this is the agenda going forward. And so it's really amusing when, like, the Daily Beast is like, oh, you stupid conspiratards. As the COVID-19 pandemic starts to ravage the world, a new conspiracy theory known as the Great Reset slowly developed alongside it. The details of the theory vary from one conspiratorial echo chamber to the next, but it broadly holds that a vague, shadowy cabal of global elites either engineered the pandemic or opportunistically using it as a means to destroy everything good in the world and build a post-crisis totalitarian dystopia in which average people live benighted lives of slavery solely to serve the interests of the ruling class.
Okay, the only problem I have with any of that is shadowy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only... It's not even vague.
Literally live stream it. You can watch him on YouTube.
Or you can literally go to the World Economic Forum's website as Klaus Schwab's like, hey, we're going to be eating the boogs soon, by the way. It's like, oh, thanks, Klaus. According to meticulous research, and we're going to do this to save the planet, by the way, according to meticulous research, who have crunched the numbers on why we'll soon be voluntarily crunching insects. Will it be voluntary? Right? The market for edible insects could grow to 1.18 billion by 2023. That's almost triple its current level. So what's behind this anticipated increase in appetite? Well, there are a number of factors at play. The first one being that per kilo of live weight, bugs emit less harmful gas. Oh God, I'm just so desperate to eat the boogs. Why? Well, because there's going to be so much less damaging for the environment. That's why. I'm just hungry to save the planet.
I kind of hate this.
Yeah, me too.
How many people actually, when they think of steak or whatever, think, food they're going to eat, think of the planet?
Yeah.
What was that, 0.1%?
Yeah, no one. Anyway, so they eat less resources than traditional livestock, which is very interesting. And of course, they consume less water. So the message is eat the boogs to save the world.
I know it may taste terrible, but think of the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the details of it, but apparently there are different kinds of proteins as well.
Also, I'm getting like video game vibes out of this. Like, the higher stats on the
cow.
Yeah. Wait, that's how you know it's better meat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Why do you think it tastes so much better? But yeah,
But you could have the cheap stuff that only costs this much. It's like,
yeah, at level 1.
It's good enough for you, maybe.
I'm 42 now. I deserve the cow, right? But the point is, it's not all the same. So, eating protein from certain kinds of animals gives you different benefits than eating other kinds of animals. And I don't know much about this, but I've seen people saying, well, look, insects are deficient in these things. Quite possibly, who knows, right? But anyway, the point is, the EU, up until 2018, has prevented this. They're like, no, you're not allowed to sell insects to humans. Not fit for human consumption, says the EU, right? The EU laws had prevented it until 2018 when the novel food regulation came into force, which allowed people to start selling you insects. So the WEF are like, yeah, well, legally you're not allowed to sell the boogs, so we'll change the law.
I wonder if you got the Stephen Colbert clip in here or not.
No.
But there's him and Jimmy Kimmel having a chat. I think it's Jimmy Kimmel. They all look the same.
Yeah.
And he's showing him this pile of dirt. And he's like, oh, it's a ground up mealworm, so you get protein out of it. You should try some. Is this not just dirt? It just looks like dirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it's approved by the EU, so it must be good. I was like,
Oh, God.
literally looks like dirt.
And saying something's approved by the EU is actually demerit and incentivizes me to avoid it. Anyway, CNN wants you to eat the boogs. And this is just representative of the general media fervor. You need to eat them to save the planet. And see, I mean, literally, maybe save the planet. This is why. They are convinced that you eating meat is destroying the earth.
Every single one of them has a private jet.
Yes.
Every single one of them flew that private jet just to Davos to have a chat.
Yes.
None of them had a bug burger while they were there.
No. They had steak.
Never will.
But anyway, so they say, On the morning in the not too distant future, you might be toasting bread made with cricket flour, drink a protein smoothie from locust powder, and eat scrambled eggs made from the fat of mopane caterpillars with a side of mealworm bacon in your pod. This is the future they want. That meal will give you 4 times the iron and more than 3 times the protein, and more key vitamins and minerals than the bread, smoothie, and eggs and bacon you ate yesterday, all while saving the planet. No way you'll eat the bugs, you say. Sorry to break this to you. You already are. Okay, that's not encouraging me. You know, that's like...
Hang on, that's a horse meat scandal.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
There are crickets in here? Okay, we need to shut you down.
Well, that's the thing. They say, well, look, you know, the US Food and Drug Administration allows 30 or more insect parts in every bar of chocolate. As in, basically, like, the process that makes the food isn't perfect, and so there's a certain percentage of, like, a certain threshold of dirt and contaminants that are allowed in the food. Otherwise, it would just be impossible to get food to the shelves, right? But it's, you know, you've got standards, and so you generally don't have bits of bug in your chocolate bars. But occasionally this may happen and you just have to live with it, right? And so checkmate, you're already eating the bugs by accident. It's a contaminant. You may as well just start shoveling mealworm bacon down.
0.1% of
You
chocolate
useless
bar
eater.
is
Yes.
bug parts, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's one way that you're already eating the bugs, but there are also more. It's not even that. You should. This is you should. You should think about Timon and Pumbaa. You like the Lion King, didn't you?
What?
Timon and Pumbaa do it. You like Timon and Pumbaa, therefore you like eating boogs. Okay? But basically...
So I actually think we're children.
Yes.
You know, have you seen Nas Daily and his spat with Avi Yemeni at Davos?
No.
Oh, you really should have, because it's got... All right, so Avi, you know your Avi
Yeah.
from Tommy. All right, Nas Daily is a guy who makes, like, the most retarded videos you've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. 1 minute, like, here's a stupid video.
There was one where he was like, look, the ground is anti-gravity as a ball rolled down the hill, and it's just because he turned the camera. And he got millions of views.
Yeah.
I've seen him complaining, being like, you can't build an audience off this, funnily enough.
Apparently you can.
No, like, he doesn't have any actual supporters. He just has likes and views.
Well,
like,
yeah,
there's
obviously.
no community.
Yeah.
And then him and Avi were having this fight because he was like, well, how did you get here? You obviously flew. You eat any bugs here? Or you obviously didn't. Like,
Yeah.
you're just a shill.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And it's just the fact of, like, he treats his audience like literal children. So I think they genuinely do believe that they are just gods.
Yes, but the reason that you should be eating the bugs is, of course, to save the planet, and this is the consistent theme throughout this entire problem. The global meat industry has been questioned for being responsible for at least 20% of man-made greenhouse gas emissions and being an unsustainable practice. And of course, there are a lot of bodies to feed on Earth. They estimate that there's going to be 9.8 billion by 2050. How are we going to feed all these useless eaters, Callum? It's going to have to be boog paste. We're running out of space to farm, you see, which is not true at all. Overpopulation is a total myth. But anyway, so we have decided, we being the WEF-inspired researchers, people being funded by the European Union and things like that, to start feeding kids boogs. You must have heard about this.
I saw this.
Yep. So researchers are planning to feed bugs like crickets and mealworms to children between 5 and 11. Why? To get them used to eating the boogs. That's why. They wish to find the best way of educating the younger generation and their families on the environmental and nutritional benefits of edible insects to cut global meat consumption. I mean, this is literally what they do. All right, we're going to brainwash your children then to eat the boogs, and then they won't have a problem not eating steak or pork chops, or, you know, fried chicken or anything like this. No.
Also, hang on. The idea is because kids will eat it, therefore it's good enough as well.
No, well, not even that. But kids will eat it because they don't know any better and they'll see whatever's put in front of them because they're kids.
But like Jamie Oliver has proved that. I'm sure you've seen where he turns like the carcass into chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And he's like, look how disgusting. Who would still eat this? And all the kids go,
Yay. I love chicken nuggets. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
But this, again, it will also involve surveying the primary school children to find out how their attitudes to environmental issues and how they translate that into views on food, right? So Carl Evans, the head teacher of Roch Community Primary School in Pembrokeshire, which is taking part in the project, said, at the school, we recognise the important connection between our local community, food production and wider global issues surrounding sustainable development. We know these issues are important to children. Oh yeah, kids just like, yeah, I'm really bothered about sustainable development. Can I watch the latest WEF documentary about, you know, sustainable farming rather than something good on TV?
Unfortunately, they might be right. I mean, do you remember the Greta Thunberg and all those climate strikes. It's not because the kids sincerely care, but they've been indoctrinated to think it's the end of the bloody world.
It's because their parents are paid to make them do it.
Yeah.
But we welcome the opportunity to work with academics from Cardiff and the University of Western England, I think it is, to explore these issues and support children in developing critical thinking around sustainable citizenship. And it goes further. I mean, they may as well just start sneaking it into your food. You don't need to know that you're eating bugs. Like, this is just one of those things. So there's a Canadian snack food called Actually Food, which lists organic cricket flour as one of its ingredients. But of
Very
course,
suspect name.
it's not advertised on the front
No.
of the packet. You would have to go through, and the little tiny block of here's the in tiny letters font. You'd have to go through and read it. But this new cheese puffs they're good for you apparently. These crickets. We've ditched so-called natural ingredients. They're not actually as clean as they claim. Instead, we're making something you can feel good about using unexpected ingredients that, although surprising, actually boost the health benefits you're looking for when you're eating junk food. Like high-protein cricket powders, flavour bean, and more. They write on their website, not on the packet.
I'm getting Soylent Green vibes, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, the fact that they called it Actually Foods as well. Like, trust us. Like, it's just food.
This
Don't
is
ask me what
actually
kind.
food, you know. So there's a method of persuasion.
What a terrible name for a food company.
Well, you might not have known if they hadn't told you. But yeah, so this is something that they've been doing. But again, you'll find people going, well, you've been eating boogs for years. What are you complaining about? If you go to the next one, so for example, Skittles and other the sort of hard-shelled candies. Apparently, they use the crushed abdomens of female beetle-like African insects. There's a substance called carmine they make from it. And so it's like, right, that's it. You eat the bugs now. It's good enough for you. It's good enough for every meal that you have, if you have it on sugar-coated sweets. But remember, I mean, it's not just you who's going to eat the boogs, it's everyone since the dawn of time who's eaten boogs. I mean, you could frame this as like, actually, us not having to eat bugs is a technological marvel and accomplishment of the human race. And actually, it's very retrograde to go back to eating bugs. But again, it's all the same. It's been the same narrative for decades. This is from 2004 on National Geographic, right? Like, again, all of the same. You've got to think about eating insects to save the planet, right? Ancient Romans and Greeks dined on insects. Pliny used to write that Roman aristocrats loved to eat beetle larvae reared on flour and wine.
Love to.
Oh yeah, they did. The Romans ate disgusting food.
But that's all they ate?
They ate
just bugs?
stuffed dormouse.
What?
They
They
stuffed.
stuff it with?
Who cares? Like it's,
The garbage? Like,
no, stuffed dormouse. They used to have fermented fish soup. It's delicious stuff the Romans ate. But I mean, if it's good enough for Aristotle, it's good enough for you, isn't it?
you know what surströmming is?
This is what?
Surströmming, the Swedish fermented fish.
Yes.
It's like, some Finnish guys spoiled the fish, sold to the Swedes, and they were dumb enough to eat it.
Yeah.
And now it's a tradition. I'm getting vibes of that too. where
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
called garum.
You could eat this. I was like, yeah, but no one wants to.
Well, the Romans liked it apparently, but again,
Well, the Swedes say they like surströmming, but no one believes it.
I guess it's a acquired taste. But Aristotle said that the larvae of the cicada is good to eat at certain particular times, and so if it's good enough for Aristotle, what do you know?
Don't believe it.
It's in the Old Testament. John the Baptist survived on locusts when he was in the desert, if you believe in John the Baptist. And in China, beekeepers are considered virile because they regularly eat larvae from their beehives. Well, you don't want to be a virile Chinese beekeeper? What are you, a loser?
That's what all the kids are doing.
So anyway, basically the checkmate has arrived. It's not that they want you. Can we persuade you to eat zaboogs? You're already eating zaboogs. Everyone has always eaten zaboogs. Even Aristotle and Chinese beekeepers eat zaboogs. You're the weird person for wanting your steak. That's what this is.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium articles we do, this one on the fact that the Tory leadership race proves that leftist ideological capture of Britain is complete. And if you want to follow what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at @lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.